Hey, what's up? My name is JM Chaley and welcome to my channel. This week I want to talk about how writers do their research and then ignore it, or maybe even don't do their research. The case study that I want to use for this example is the Jurassic Park franchise. Now, this is a video I've been debating doing for years. I'm a big dinosaur nerd, and I really do love the Jurassic Park franchise. I've seen all the movies. I can't wait to see the new one coming out. And as of this video, I have not seen it yet, but I really do love the movies. But I can't help, as a dinosaur nerd, looking at stuff and thinking, oh man, you just got that so wrong. And it's just dumb stuff. Some of it's kind of like, I get why you did it that way. Artistic license, coolness factor, whatever. I can kind of let some stuff slide. But some stuff is just sloppy. And hey, the Jurassic Park franchise, between the book and all the movies, is $1 billion industry, so the hell do I know? I mean, of all case studies to do, obviously they're doing something right. But I wanted to just do this video anyway because I'm a dino nerd and I had some bitching to do. Now, I think we know some of the stuff. Everybody knows some of the stuff that's just kind of like kooky right out of the box. The whole idea of taking blood out of a mosquito trapped in amber. The whole idea that they had enough of these mosquitoes that had enough blood samples to create hundreds of different dinosaur species or dozens of different dinosaur species. We never really know exactly how many. The whole idea that frog DNA, which is an amphibian and not even related to dinosaurs, could be used to, fill in the gaps of the DNA for anything missing in the genetic code for the dinosaur samples. That was a little silly, right? Of course, why wouldn't they use something like birds? But they needed the whole idea of certain species of frogs can change their gender, so we needed to do that for the stuff. So I get all the sci-fi stuff. The sci-fi stuff is what it is, and we suspend our disbelief for science fiction. That's okay. And I'm not even talking about the real sloppy stuff like, I don't know, if you remain still, a T-Rex can't see you. Because, how many predators do you know that if you remain perfectly still, they can't see you? But when the trailer came out for Jurassic Park Dominion, I really said to myself, I gotta say something. Here's another example of not doing your research, or doing your research and not caring. So let's take a look at the little bit of the trailer and I'll show you what I mean. So here we see an Oviraptor. He's coming up and he's approaching the nest and he's grabbing an egg. He's going to steal an egg. We assume it's not his egg or her egg. Gonna eat it. What's wrong with that? Nothing too crazy, right? That dinosaur was an Oviraptor, discovered in the 1920s in Mongolia by Roy Chapman Andrews, who was sent on an expedition to Mongolia by the Museum of Natural History in New York City. He spent a great deal of the 1920s in Mongolia and discovered a lot of dinosaur species, including the Oviraptor, Protoceratops, and the Velociraptor. So what's the big deal about that little clip? Well, Oviraptor means egg predator or egg stealer. And when they found fossilized eggs, it was a big discovery because we had long suspected at that time that dinosaurs laid eggs like other reptiles did. We saw them as reptiles. And when Roy Chapman Andrews found fossilized eggs, it proved that yes, dinosaurs laid eggs. It was a huge discovery. But then in one instance, he found this Oviraptor, another dinosaur, fossilized along with the eggs. Now, back in the 1920s, thinking that dinosaurs were just big reptiles and that most reptiles, like turtles, snakes, most lizards, just lay their eggs and leave, that dinosaurs would behave the same way. So Roy Chapman Andrews figured this Oviraptor stumbled upon a nest, was going to eat, must have died for some reason, and got fossilized along with his would-be dinner. It was only many years later when we discovered other fossilized nests of eggs along with other dinosaurs that we realized they didn't leave the nests. They stayed with them like birds do. The Mosasaurus is a great example of this. Here is an herbivore who we found fossilized with their nests. They're not there to eat the eggs, they eat plants. Discoveries like this helped us understand that the oviraptor wasn't stealing the eggs. The eggs belonged to her. And this discovery, this knowledge, this revelation has been known to us for the better part of this century. And yet, in the trailer, they thought, let's go back to the way we thought things were, 100 years ago when we got it wrong. Michael Crichton, the creator of Jurassic Park, who did a lot of this research, you can't really bring him in for all the movies because this is now Spielberg's territory, right? But Michael Crichton created Jurassic Park, of course, right? He also created ER. So imagine, if you will, a hospital drama where they were like using leeches in the hospital. Isn't that what they used to use to make the people feel better with the leeches? I'm not going to research that. All I'm saying is that you're always going to have an audience that knows if you're spewing bullshit. And I can appreciate that maybe the dino nerd community is smaller than, say, I don't know, the medical field of people that are nurses and doctors and all this kind of stuff. But still. But it isn't just that. Some stuff is just sloppy. In the third movie, I forget what it was called, but Dr. Grant returns to reprise his role from the first movie. And they're looking at this big, giant dinosaur footprint. And this was supposed to be the Spinosaurus, the dinosaur with the big sail on its back, and it ate the T-Rex or whatever, swallowed the satellite phone and all that kind of crap. They're looking at this big footprint. And he says to his, I think there was like a student or something with him, or whatever he was, he says, you know what this is? And the student says, Sukimanus. Dr. Grant says, bigger. Now here in the audience, I'm thinking, here's where he's going to say Spinosaurus. But no, he says Baryonyx. I think I audibly sighed to myself. Now most people aren't going to get that. I know most people aren't going to get that. But the fact remains that a Baryonyx is smaller than a Suchomimus. All they had to do was reverse that line. What do you think this track is? Baryonyx, bigger. Suchomimus, perfect. A little bit of research, a little bit of getting your shit together. I don't know. Here's a little graphic just to show you. They're not much bigger. They're roughly the same size. Right? About a meter difference. But, God damn. But I haven't even gotten to, like, the big stuff yet. This is carelessness. This is sloppiness. This is just kind of like, a couple of frames on the screen. Not a big deal, right? You blink and you miss it. It's not a big deal. But some of the real iconic stuff in Jurassic Park was just wrong, too. And I want to talk a little bit about the Dilophosaurus. So you remember the Dilophosaurus, right? It's this guy. Blech. Okay, and you remember the scene, right? He does this. He does that. Well, here's the thing with that. The Dilophosaurus was discovered by Dr. Samuel Wells. And after the Jurassic Park movie, he was interviewed. And in a nutshell, he pretty much said that he was very flattered that his dinosaur was included in the movie, but there was no fossil evidence to support the fact that it had neck frills or could shoot venom out of its mouth. This was just stuff created by Michael Crichton because he thought it would be cool. Now there are toys out there that show the Dilophosaurus with the, and all this kind of stuff. And if you go up to the average person on the street, they may not know the name Dilophosaurus, but they'll be like, oh, you know that dinosaur that does the blah, blah, blah. I've actually talked to people that tell me, oh, yeah, some dinosaurs could spit venom. We've had no fossil evidence to suggest that at all, right? There'd be something in the roof of the mouth to allow for the gland in the back of the whatever, the fossil evidence would be there. It's just so... But let's get to the main event. And I want to talk about Velociraptors. Now, Velociraptors were Michael Crichton's ultimate villain in the Jurassic Park novel, right? And Steven Spielberg was all in, latched onto this as well. Velociraptors. And they were described as 6-foot-long terrors with 2-foot-long heads. And huge, not huge as far as dinosaurs go, but compared to a human. Big, and also very durable, able to survive gunshot wounds and all this kind of craziness. Here's how big they actually were. Yeah. So basically what happened was Michael Crichton, to his credit, he talked to a lot of paleontologists about different types of dinosaurs and what they were like, and he looked at fossils and all this kind of stuff. He really, really did do his research. But this is the part of the kind of the theme of this video where you do your research and then you ignore some of it or throw it away. He knew that velociraptors were these little turkey-sized dinosaurs. The velociraptor that he was looking for was actually the Deinonychus, which is another species of dinosaur that more closely fit the size and the build of what he was looking for. So what happened? Well, honestly, he figured his readers would find the word Deinonychus and stumble over it. It's kind of a floppy, kind of clumsy word if you're not familiar with it. And he thought, honestly, that Velociraptor just sounded cooler. There's a really cool kind of scene where Dr. Grant carries the Velociraptor claw on him, and he ends up dropping it when he gets to Jurassic Park because he's like, fossils, fuck this shit, right? But he actually has the Velociraptor claw on him. Remember, because he rakes it, not hard, but he puts it across the belly of that kid that's like, oh, these things are overgrown turkeys. He's like, oh yeah, well look at this claw, this kind of thing. And he pulls up this, right? So here is an actual Deinonychus claw. The claw that really the movie Velociraptor, I should say the book Velociraptor, is based off of. It's certainly not this big thing that he had as a prop. He made them even bigger than what Deinonychus was. If anything, they're more like a Utah raptor, and I'll show you a Utah raptor right here. They are bigger than the Deinonychus. This is a Utah raptor claw. So you can tell the difference between a Deinonychus and the Utah raptor. Big difference. This is more like what Dr. Grant used in the movie, except it had a nice big hook in it like this. So they got the hook right on this one, and then the size right on this one. If you combine the two, whatever. So now I'd like to show you the Velociraptor claw. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Compared with the Deinonychus, right? Utah raptor, which is really what he was, the movie version, the book version, this little thing. So when you look at something like this classic scene, and if you made it accurate to what velociraptors really were, you'd be looking at it more like this. But I just want to cover one more thing, if I can just complain about stuff a little bit more. The new Jurassic Park movies, the ones with Chris Pratt, they delve into this whole idea, this new idea of this island where they actually open up, the park, and they finally let people in. And now they've genetically modified dinosaurs, and they have they make them more ferocious. They need more teeth. I mean, people want and real dinosaurs aren't good enough for the public. They want genetically modified dinosaurs because why? I don't know. And they come up with this dinosaur called the Indominus Rex, who is like this blend of a T-Rex and a Velociraptor. And this thing, woof, yeah, this is the new threat, right? And once again, have to ask if they did any research at all. Because there was a giant Velociraptor, if you will. A type of dinosaur related to the Velociraptor, the Deinonychus, the Utah raptor. There was a giant version of these dromaeosaurs. And it was called the Megaraptor. And I'm not making it up. And that's its claw. Yeah. So this was huge. I mean, maybe not as big as a T-Rex, granted. But these things, this could have been your villain. This could have been your new villain right here. A real dinosaur. Missed opportunity. Megaraptor. God. But, once again, I need to be self-aware of the fact that as much as I'm complaining about, the failures of Jurassic Park, it's a multi-billion-dollar franchise. So, I guess I can stuff it because it really doesn't matter. But I would bet dollars to donuts or bagels to bears or blimps to... Where am I going with this? I would bet anything that every single paleontologist that has watched these movies or read that book has rolled their eyes at one point or another. And if we as authors, we as writers, take our research and get sloppy with it or lazy with it, someone in our audience, someone in our readership, because let's face it, we're not all Michael Crichtons. It's a dangerous precedent to start, to research something and then toss it out. Because, I don't know, you could go the wrong way with the wrong subject and just lose stock, So that about wraps it up. Jurassic Park, getting sloppy, getting silly. I still love the movies, I really do. I can't complain. I'm going to see Jurassic Park Dominion when it comes out. If you like this video, please give it a like, and as always, please subscribe. I post most Thursdays, and you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.